Nebraska's GDP is down 6%, and farmers are struggling. And Congressman Don Bacon says tariffs aren't helping. Corn is one of the things Nebraska is best known for, but right now, it's a crop that isn't guaranteeing a profit for some farmers. The Nebraska Farm Bureau tracks crop prices. In July 2022, it was selling for more than $7 a bushel. That's now dropped to less than $5. Soybeans went from $16 to $10 in the same time frame. Bacon says tariffs are only exacerbating the issue, and he says it's time for Congress to reclaim its authority over tariff policy.
Putting tariffs on 80 different countries, is that an emergency power or is that tariff policy? I think that's tariff policy. And tariff policy is under the purview of Congress. And I think it's time that Congress bring this authority back.
Bacon says he doesn't believe the majority support behind the effort is there yet, but he expects it will be a good debate in September.
More farmers are getting cooked, and I heard more of them even are going bankrupt.
I'm so excited for everyone to call me a bad person again in my comments, but guess what? I do not care about Nebraska going bankrupt in 6 months. I do not care. I do not care. Maybe a few other of those red states should go bankrupt in 6 months so the blue states can swoop in to save them, so they can understand that we are not the bad ones. We are not the poor ones. We are not the ones who cannot survive under the orange turds' crazy policies. But you know why I don't feel bad for Nebraska? You know why? Because I believe I heard 65% of their workforce is undocumented people, which means they're not coming to work anymore, which means work's not happening, which means all the farmers in Nebraska are going to go bankrupt because they all went out there and voted against their neighbors. 65% of neighbors who are immigrants, okay? Fuck around and find out at this point. You know what I mean? And of course, I do feel bad for those blue people in Nebraska who did not vote for this. So unfortunate. That's what you get for being racist and not wanting immigrants in this country, even though they're paying taxes and contributing. So
I mean, how you all feel about that? Leave your comments down below. Don't worry, Bezos and his billionaires will buy their farms and factories while all farm owners go homeless.
It's Joe from Georgia. So we're getting ready for the first domino to fall, and we know what happens after the first one falls. Well, the state of Nebraska, the governor, Jim Pillen, has asked the federal government for help because they're not going to be able to pay their bills this year. And here's the problem in Nebraska. They had over a $2 billion contract with the Chinese government to export soybeans to China. Well, out of that $2 billion, they've canceled all the contracts. So out of that $2 billion, $350 million was state revenue taxes. They're not getting any of that. And the governor also goes on to say that because the migrant farmers weren't able to work in Nebraska this summer, that those people didn't pay their taxes either. And the farmers who already have crops in the ground, folks, they've already spent their money. They're going to need help too because they're not getting any money from the contracts anymore. So Nebraska is the first state. And when you look at the Midwest, you're probably looking at Kansas, you're looking at Iowa, South Dakota, all of those places that are large exporters of grains to China and depend on migrant farm labor. They're not going to be able to pay their bills either. So here's the first one to fall. But of course, as we do know, a certain person in a certain house in Washington, D.C. at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, they know all about bankruptcy, I'm sure.
Oh, soybean farmers in America are finding out. Donald Trump recently asked China to quadruple their purchasing of American soybeans. Donald, since the initial trade war you started, China started buying all their soybeans from Brazil and Argentina. All thanks to you. And now with their inputs going up and their exports going down, the American farmer can't survive. With small farm bankruptcies being at a 5-year high since the last Trump administration, nationwide farmers voted for Donald Trump at almost an 80% clip. Because even though Donald Trump ruined them last go around, he gave out the welfare queens their farmer subsidy that they needed. You know, welfare for me, the farmer, but not for the citizen in America. With no talk of a subsidy on the horizon, their immigrant labor gone, the farmer having to pay more for the fertilizer they import and then the farming equipment they get from other countries. And now those other countries not buying their grain, their wheat, their soybean because of Donald Trump's tariffs that have made reciprocal ones in the countries that they're selling their agriculture too. And don't worry, farmers. I mean, these private equity firms can't wait to own your farm at the rock bottom prices they're going to be able to buy them for. I wonder if Blackstone will just incorporate the entire state of Nebraska. Your racism got you. Your hatred towards a system that does nothing but help you out and deliver for you in every way. But you wanted to take that away from other people, didn't you, farmers? You want everybody else to pull themselves up by your bootstraps, while the government makes you a welfare queen year after year. And the farmers are finding out.
We better not bail them out either. That would be socialism. I think Trump is a foreign plant. He's only done stuff in the interest of China. I mean, honestly, with the way he's moving, I won't even be surprised.
Some new numbers have just come out that actually, in some way, make me happy, in some ways make me sad. See, in the first quarter of 2025, bankruptcies for farmers exceeded the 2024 total for the year. And in the second quarter, according to new reporting that just came out, they doubled last year's number. So the farmers that overwhelmingly voted for the administration we have are filing bankruptcies at a record pace. The last time farm bankruptcies were this high was during Trump's last term. For somebody that claims to love farmers, he sure just consistently hurts them. In fact, the last time it was this high was between 2018 and 2019. You would think maybe it was during 2020 and all that craziness, but no. This is all pre-pandemic Trump wonderful economic policies affecting farmers once again.
I mean, seriously, it just takes a couple of minutes to read and see who you need to vote for. Like, there were some people who were voting for things that don't even affect them. Like the dude who lives all the way in Maine and was worried about the border. He consistently hurts them and still they vote for him. That's the saddest part. If this was a story about the MAGA followers who were constantly suffering and finding out the hard way, this would be it. At this point, I think we need to concede that farmers have hurt farmers. You know who didn't want farmers to be hurt? Kamala voters. Farmer-on-farmer violence is not our problem.
Happy Labor Day, everybody. Today's Fuck Around and Find Out episode is brought to you by Nebraska farmers. Because how did you not see it coming when you totally voted for it? And just as a friendly reminder, the state of Nebraska during the 2024 election went 59.3% towards President Orangeman.
News out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore.
Now, I do want to offer you a little bit of advice. So you said you have about 2 months before y'all go bankrupt. Well, that means you have 2 months to figure out how to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And please remember that during this time, any form of government assistance is considered socialism, which is the very thing that you guys like to vote against. Because if you do accept it, that makes you guys hypocrites. But feel free to work outside because vitamin D exposure from the sun is really good for you. And also, it is an excellent form of cardio.
Farmers went bankrupt during Trump's first term. Too bad they weren't paying attention.
We need trade deals as fast as we can for Nebraska. We're an export state, and our corn and soybeans right now are being shut out of the market, and that's why Nebraska is on its heels right now. We've lost about 6% of our GDP, according to the economic numbers that are official, and that's not a good sign. And so if we can get some tariff deals and get these markets open back up, ultimately that's what we want.
Tariff deals? Y'all should just get rid of tariff entirely.
Nebraska going into bankruptcy because of self-inflicted damage. They were team firing over here, saying, you know what, everybody pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Our ideology is nobody should get anything that they don't deserve. Now they want a bailout. They're asking for socialism. Socialism bad until I need socialism. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Oh my God, yo, people are not having any mercy on Nebraska. But let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you believe now Nebraska needs a bailout for what's going on and at least for what they voted for? Leave your comments down below. If it's your first time to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And if you haven't, make sure you check out this video. I'm sure you're definitely going to enjoy it. But nevertheless, I will see you guys when I see you. Peace.